Welcome to the channel, Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist, Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. And I have been observing with great concern, from my point of view, what has been happening in the presidential situation for America, given America is one of our strongest allies here in Australia. We're a very vulnerable country without them. For many of you that don't know, other countries see Australia as the most disabled country in the world. NDIS consumes more of the country's revenue than does the defence of the country. They're predicting that NDIS will consume more revenue than what the country is able to earn. And so we're seen as a country that enables disabled people. We're seen as weak by most countries across the world, and I say that respectfully. You have to tell it how it is, but I think America's in the same sort of situation with what has been going on with President Biden. I don't think President Biden, regardless of each of these man's character flaws, whatever they might be, is anywhere near as good as a president as Donald Trump. This is how we see it from Australia.
Chocolate chip.
Oh, yeah. Is your message to Republicans who are prepared to block the January 6th election?
That's a pretty bad fall. That's pretty rude, isn't it, when you fall asleep? I used to be a preacher, and most of my congregation fell asleep, and I got the message. I soon got the message. Get out of the ministry. Gee, that's embarrassing.
North Carolina announced its $100 incentive today. Places that have offered $100, that'd be really good. I'd go back and get vaccinated 3 times. But all kidding aside, offered the $100 to get vaccination, have seen an uptick of 25% on daily vaccination rates.
Let me just say, guys, I don't want to get involved in this experimental thing that they did, but it was, oh God, I'm not even going to say.
An uptick of 25% on daily vaccination rates. She's also dedicated to getting her customers and employees vaccinated, that when they leave the saloon, the receptionist, the salon, they're maybe going to a saloon, I don't know. I caught part of President Putin's press conference, and he talked about the need for us to be able to have some kind of modus operandi where we dealt with making sure the Arctic was, in fact, a free zone.
Is a Taliban takeover of Afghanistan now inevitable?
No, it is not. Because you have the Afghan troops have 300,000 well-equipped as any army in the world, and an air force, against something like 75,000 Taliban. It is not inevitable. Do I trust the Taliban? No. But I trust the capacity of the Afghan military, who is better trained, better equipped, and more competent in terms of conducting war. I stand squarely behind my decision. After 20 years, I've learned the hard way that there was never a good time to withdraw U.S. forces. So-called Great Recession. The president asked me to be in charge of managing that piece, then President Trump. Excuse me, Freudian slip. That was the last president. He caused, anyway, that was President Obama when I was vice president. I know you're a little younger than I am, but, you know, I've adopted the attitude of the great Negro at the time, pitcher in the Negro Leagues, went on to become a great pitcher in the pros, into the Major League Baseball after Jackie Robinson. His name was Satchel Paige. Russia will be held accountable if it invades, and it depends on what it does. It's one thing if it's a minor incursion and then we end up having a fight about what to do and not do, et cetera. But if they actually do what they're capable of doing with the force amassed on the border, it is going to be a disaster for Russia if they further invade Ukraine, and that our allies and partners are ready to impose severe cost and significant harm on Russia and the Russian economy.
You said that Russia would be held accountable if it invades, and it depends on what it does. Are you saying that a minor incursion by Russia into Ukrainian territory would not lead to the sanctions that you have threatened, or are you effectively giving Putin permission to make a small incursion into the country?
Good question. That's how it did sound like, didn't it?
It's pretty scary stuff when you think that that man's probably the most powerful man in the world. But I agree with Donald Trump when he said,
and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence. And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people, they cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. We're no longer respected. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
well, interesting viewers, that's what's happening to Australia. We're handing out gifts and things to these immigrants that are coming into Australia and the United Kingdom to such an extent that they think we're absolutely stupid. The rest of the world, these other nations that aren't of the Western world, they're looking at us and they're thinking, these people have got to be fools. I've always said, and that I just believe that, you know, we've put ourselves in such a vulnerable position now in the way in which we're being perceived by the nations that are possibly opposed to us. They're coming to our United Kingdom, America and Australia in such large numbers that we don't even know, they're not even reculturalizing to our cultures. They're bringing their cultures into our countries and taking over, and we're just allowing it. So President Trump's right. They think we're stupid. They really think we're stupid.
Tonight clearly was disappointing for his supporters. CNN is reporting Democratic lawmakers watching the debate were worried about the president's performance. One said it was a disaster. Another called it a train wreck. Those are Democrats especially worried that Biden did not punch back on Trump's lies.
So a lot of the followers of Joe Biden are panicking now. His performance in front of the world is scary. It's really, really, I don't know what these people are thinking. Let's find out.
Listen, people can debate on style points, but ultimately this election and who is the president of the United States has to be about substance. And the contrast is clear. Look at what happened during the course of the debate. Donald Trump lied.
Donald Trump didn't lie. This is their new narrative. That Donald Trump lied. You show me where Donald Trump lied in that debate. He doesn't have to lie. All Donald Trump's got to do is stand there and not even open his mouth, and he wins the debate. These people are, they're pretty steadfast in their manipulative and deceived narrative.
Over and over and over again, as he is wont to do.
No, Donald Trump didn't lie over and over and over again.
He would not disavow what happened on January 6th. He would not give a clear answer on whether he would stand by the election results this November.
He did give a clear answer on that, and we'll get that up right now. Okay, so one of the people running the debate asked Donald Trump this question. Remember, this lady said this.
Clear. Look at what happened during the course of the debate. Donald Trump lied over and over and over again, as he is wont to do. He would not disavow what happened on January 6th. He would not give a clear answer on whether he would stand by the election results this November. He went back and forth about where he stands on one of the most critical issues of freedom in America, which is the right of a woman to make decisions about their own body. He has been completely ambiguous and all over the place about where he stands on that issue, despite the fact that he hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and that's exactly what they did. And just 3 years ago, we commemorated the 2-year anniversary of Dobbs, wherein women across our country have been denied emergency health care, have
all that may be
suffered
true. All
miscarriages
that may be true, but the president.
Okay, so this is about the abortion issue.
Yet another
Let's see
abortion
what
case, temporarily
happens.
allowing emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion pill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives. Everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was an end result that was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different. Florida is different. But they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby. What happened is we brought it back to the states, and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you.
So it sounds to me like he answered the question fair and square. So what we've got are people that they seem to be programmed like robots to just be against Donald Trump. I haven't heard him say one lie. I watched this thing. I don't, from what I know, it's just a simple domestic layperson Australian concerned about our allies and who's leading the place. I don't think Donald Trump lied at all. I want to play what this lady said again. I don't. It's terrible.
What happened during the course of the debate? Donald Trump lied over and over and over again, as he is.
No, he didn't. This must be their new narrative. They've probably changed it from the sex thing to lying. He's a liar. But she's the liar because Donald Trump hasn't lied. She's a liar.
Want to do. He would not disavow what happened on January 6th. He would not give a clear answer on whether he would stand by the election results this November.
We'll come to that right now. Let's see what he says on the election results. We know what he stands on abortion. Let's just hang on.
He went back and forth about where he stands on one of the most critical issues of freedom in America, which is the right of a woman to make decisions about their own body.
Which is abortion, and he answered that clearly. So going back to what he says about the election, let's see what he says.
Will you pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins, and you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable?
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively...
I'm really sorry to interrupt here, viewers, but President Biden just looks blank. He just looks blank. He's just got this blank gaze, stare.
Small number of people that went to the Capitol, and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility, not mine. She said that loud and clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a great president, because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political opponent, because he indicted me because I was his opponent. I wish he was a great president. I would rather have that. I wouldn't be here. I don't mind being here. But the only reason I'm here is he's so bad as a president that I'm going to make America great again. We're going to make America great again. We're a failing nation right now. We're a seriously failing nation. And we're a failing nation because of him. His policies are so bad. His military policies are insane. They're insane. These are wars that will never end with him. He will drive us into World War III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are very, very close to World War III, and he's driving us there. And Kim Jong-un and President Xi of China, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, all of these, Putin, they don't respect him. They don't fear him. They have nothing going with this gentleman, and he's going to drive us into World War III.
And I guess when you think about it, that's my great concern. I don't want to end up with World War III. The problem that Australia's got, if there is a World War III and these foreign nations that want this land decide that they're going to make a rush for it, we haven't got the military might, as far as I know, to protect our borders. We just haven't got that might. And Trump said he would accept the election results if they're fair and honest. And that was his answer. That's all there is to it.
In America, which is the right of a woman to make decisions about their own body. He has been completely ambiguous and all over the place about where he stands.
No, he wasn't ambiguous. He has not been ambiguous. This is a narrative of brainwashing. They're trying to brainwash. They're trying to turn these people's minds away from Trump.
On that issue, despite the fact that he hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and that's exactly what they did. And just 3 years ago, we commemorated the 2-year anniversary of Dobbs, wherein women across our country have been denied emergency health care.
He answered those questions.
All that may be true, but the President of the United States was not able to make that case to Donald Trump on the stage tonight. I mean, you debated against then Vice President Biden 4 years ago, and he was a very different person on the stage 4 years ago when you debated him. You must, I mean, that's certainly true, is it not?
Minimum wage, all those kinds of things.
Anderson, the point has to be performance in terms of what a president does. A president who incites an insurrection against the Capitol. No, but I got
see how she's getting defensive. The performance isn't going to line up because the performance is not there. This man's a puppet. He's a puppet to players like this and this that are manipulating the scenes behind him. He knows, President Trump knows, we know. They've done a pretty bad job of probably, I don't know the exact numbers, but 8 to 11 million immigrants cross the border without conscience. They're murdering people, they're wrecking the place over there. No, these people, how can you trust these people?
About a 1.5 hour debate tonight. I'm talking about 3.5 years of performance in work that
there
hasn't
been guys, it's been historical, all right? There's never been more people cross the border in American history than what there has in this person's term as President of the United States. He undone all the border protection that Donald Trump put in place. She's just talking rubbish.
But is that the man who we saw on the stage tonight? Is that the person you see in meetings every day?
The person that you saw on the debate stage that has, for the last 3.5 years, up until today, performed in a way that has been about, whether it be in the Oval Office, negotiating bipartisan deals.
Well, that's just part of being, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, that's just part of being a president. That's what you sign up for. There's nothing special or unusual about what she's trying to say. That's just normal presidential duties.
So that we have an infrastructure, a real infrastructure plan where we're putting trillions of dollars on the streets of America to upgrade our infrastructure. Whether it be the person I see in the Oval Office who is meeting with heads of the military and the intelligence community.
Ladies and gentlemen, viewers, that's just a normal requirement of being a president. It's nothing special or outstanding. That's what presidents do. If you watch some of the videos going on about the great cities of America, a lot of the retail chains and shops are shut. They've closed down. The place is going to pieces. These people are talking rubbish.
In the Situation Room, ensuring the safety of America.
No, I'm going to show you something. This is just a little snippet, but this says retail apocalypse, Walmart closing all stores in major US cities. Let's see.
Yeah, just take her. That's all you had to do is take everything out.
She's been caught stealing.
I'm sorry.
Another person's been caught stealing.
Retail companies are having to make drastic changes. Walmart is closing its last remaining stores in Portland. It's the latest in a series of shutdowns at the US's largest retailer.
Okay, so there's just one example. Just put in shops closing all over America on the Microsoft Bing search. Every store is closed in Berkeley. There's video evidence. Why US malls are disappearing. Video evidence. Walgreens closing stores over shoplifting fears. Viewers, even in Australia, we can tell what's happening in the US.
Once a crown jewel for retail shopping, tonight the Westfield San Francisco Center is pulling the plug on its famed downtown mall. The stunning decision to walk away comes as the city struggles with homelessness,
look, guys, look.
Open-air drug market, and the perception of crime. In a statement, Westfield says, given the challenging operating conditions in downtown San Francisco, which have led to declines in sales, occupancy, and foot traffic, we have made the difficult decision to transfer management.
I don't come to San Francisco anymore, let's put it that way. It's scary.
As other cities...
Okay, so I won't drag that on too far, but you can see the point of what I'm trying to say. Everything this... What's this lady's name? I just don't trust her. I never did trust her from the start. Kamala Harris, I don't even know. I don't even think she knows what she's talking about. It seems to me like these people on the Joe Biden team are just saying anything to suit a narrative that's going to keep him in and this man out. They're destroying their own country.
person I see in Joe Biden on the world stage, convening world leaders who
No, when we've seen Joe Biden on the world stage, it's been embarrassing.
ask for his advice.
They don't ask for it. Could you imagine? Oh, my goodness. I think she's lying. I don't think leaders from other countries would be asking Joe Biden's advice. Because he's not fully cognitive for a start. They'd be, as a matter of fact, if people from other nations would be looking at Joe Biden and going, this is going to be a pushover.
Most recently, just
And the truth of the fact of the matter, it is. If 11 million people have crossed the border, or 8 to 11 million people have crossed the border since he's been in office, why wouldn't you think that? It's a pushover. They need Trump, I'm telling you.
The G7 conference. So I'm not going to spend all night with you talking about the last 90 minutes when I've been watching the last 3.5 years of performance.
No, it's not performance. It's presidential responsibility. It's just presidential responsibility. And apparently, if you look at her schedule, apparently a lot of it's blank. You can just tell from the other side of the world that this group of people haven't performed. They have not performed. We can tell.
This was a debate that your campaign wanted. You pushed for this debate at this moment. Obviously, I mean, you can't honestly say, I mean, can you say that you are not concerned at all having watched the president's performance tonight?
It was a slow start. That's obvious to everyone. I'm not going to debate that point. I'm talking about the choice in November. I'm talking about one of the most important elections in our collective lifetime. And do we want to look at what November will bring and go on a course for America that is about a destruction of democracy?
It isn't. If America stays on the course that they're on now, we don't know what's going to happen. It's unstable. It's weak. The place is falling to pieces behind the scenes. These people aren't going to tell you that. Major shopping retail centres and things like that are just shutting down right before these people's eyes, and they're not doing anything about it. They're just making excuses. If America continues on the path that these people want it to continue on, I'm scared. I'm worried.
A man who has said he'll be a dictator on day one, or do we want
He never said he'd be a Donald Trump never proved to be a dictator. He was a man of solution, a man of productivity, man that got things done. We forget all that. We don't want to see all that. We're too busy at looking at people's flaws.
continue on a course that's about strengthening America's economy, building and creating 15
They haven't done that, though.
million American jobs, over 800,000 manufacturing jobs. I got that this is the afterplay for the debate, this conversation that I'm in.
No. That's trying to shift accountability for the failure of the president that she's the vice president under. And it's just not washing. It just doesn't wash. Look, this guy's astonished at what extremes this woman will go to try and protect their failures.
And I understand why everyone wants to talk about it, but I think it's also important to recognize that the choice in November between these two people that were on the debate stage involves extraordinary stakes. And there's one person on that stage who has the endorsement of their vice president, and that's Joe Biden.
Well, that's irrelevant. I don't think her endorsement means much at all. I think looking at it from the other side of the world, and let's be honest, we can tell that there is something seriously wrong with the way they're running America, and it can't continue.
Pence is nowhere to be found in supporting Donald Trump, and that's why he has to look for someone else to run with him who, as we know, will embolden and rubber stamp whatever he wants, because they're going to have to make a choice to not be Mike Pence and to
hang on a sec. I think these people have got to make a choice about replacing Joe Biden. They've got to replace him. He's too old. He's not coherent, completely coherent.
Donald Trump over their country.
Neither person on that stage tonight made the argument as coherently as you just did. You mentioned reproductive rights. I'd like to just play that exchange that we saw tonight.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court. He takes credit for taking it away. What's he going to do? What's he going to do, in fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
To someone who watched this debate tonight and has serious concerns about the President of the United States, what do you say to them about what they just saw?
They saw they witnessed the fact that if Donald Trump were elected to be President of the United States this November, he will sign a national abortion ban. Take him at his word. He said he would when he was president before. He said if
No, he never said that. He said it will be up to the people themselves, but there'll be a limit on the age of the fetus that will be maximum before it can be terminated. People have had babies 7 months into the pregnancy. That's called premature, and the babies have gone on to be human beings. These people are saying that they want people to terminate babies at any age, the fetus at any age, even after birth. What's this lady talking about?
came to his desk, he'd
She's
sign
completely.
it. There's
She might be demonized or something.
no reason to believe anything would change. A national abortion ban means that folks in New York, California, Maryland, all these other states that have protected the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what.
It's not just a decision about the woman's body. There's a life that she's brought into that body through having sexual relations with somebody else. Right? It's not just about a woman's body, honey. There's a big responsibility that's taken place before that baby's conceived.
To do will be at risk. That's what you should take away from that discussion.
No, I don't believe that's what you should take away. I thought Donald Trump was reasonable and rational. There has to be an age limit on abortion, but it's up to the individual himself.
Joe Biden was very clear. He will sign back into law the protections of Roe v. Wade.
The person we saw tonight, the
issues,
president we saw tonight on that
issues.
stage, is that how he is every day?
The Joe Biden that I work with every day is someone who, as I have said, has performed in a way that has been about bringing people into the Oval Office, Republicans and Democrats, to compromise in a way that is extraordinary these days.
I can't even listen to her. She's not believable. What happened with this lady is Pelosi.
I'm good. That's you. The president today challenged Donald Trump to 2 debates. Donald Trump, what do you think about that idea? And are you concerned at all about the president's poll numbers? He's really struggling in a lot of swing states at this moment.
I think the president's going to be the next president of the United States. I myself would never recommend going on a stage with Donald Trump, but the president has decided that's what he wants to do. I think the format he is suggesting is a good one.
I'd like to see I'd like to see what she says after the debate. Let's just stand by. Okay, viewers, so we know the Democrats are using the new narrative that Donald Trump's a liar, which is a lie within itself. Let's see what Nancy Pelosi says after Donald Trump and Biden had the debate.
How do you think he did?
She doesn't look real impressed. She doesn't look convinced. Neither does he. I don't think he did very well at all. Let's see what she says.
Compared to a person who was lying the whole time?
Okay, so that's not even rational. That's not the words of a rational person. Because Donald Trump was not lying the whole time.
We saw integrity on one side and dishonesty on the other. That's how I saw it.
And what do you...
So this woman's desperate. You can see the top brass have been rattled by Biden's performance. The only way they can try and rescue or recover from this debate is to out and out, straight on attack Donald Trump. But I think Donald Trump's gotten to the point where the American people can see, man, these people are lost.
Say to former President Trump, who blames you for January 6th and says you didn't take his offer for the National Guard.
He thinks I planned my own assassination. He's sicker than I thought.
So she's not really well. She hasn't taken it well. I just want to play that again. She hasn't taken it well at all. Look. Neither is he. They know. They all know. Right? That's desperate. You can tell by the body language. It's desperate. He's humiliated them. He's demoralized them. Look, right? They're trying to protect someone that's just not meant to be there. I don't know what they're getting out of it. They must be getting a lot out of it. But, yeah, it's not good. You're probably thinking Dr. J.W. Morrison's a Trump supporter. No. I've gotten to the point where it's not about supporting one person or the other. I think it's a matter now of somebody that will be able to protect not only America, but its allies. I think that man has to be Donald Trump. I don't think the Democrats are going to put anybody else in place of Joe Biden, who's pretty well proved to his people and others that he's just not going to be able to do the job. Trump's record as Prime Minister, despite his personal life, was pretty good. I think he'll be more determined if he gets back in this time. He'll work harder and faster because he'll know he'll only have a certain amount of time to get done what he needs to get done for America. And I'd feel a lot safer as an Australian over here in my country with a man that, at least has the ability to not only negotiate and consider things fairly and squarely, but will be able to... I just think he was undermined, and if he had stayed in for another 4 years, it would have been a whole lot better for everyone. I'm going to get off. I've gone way too long. I'm Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist. If you like this take it or leave it. It's up to you, but I had to say something. Bye for now.